Genji 2 is an action game which is based on Japanese history. Being based on history, the stages of the game will also be based on famous battles which actually took place in ancient Japan. So here's this giant enemy crab. Enemy crab. Giant enemy crab.
What the fuck is this? Like, he is hiring people to serve digital meatballs in his Roblox store.
Hey, you know,
That's a thing.
You gotta get that money.
Wait, employees will earn $16.82 an hour. Will they help players buy furniture?
No.
Hold up.
We got to get that Roblox money, dog.
Dude, that's crazy.
How do I get that? What do you need to do? Like, okay. Roblox
But
they'll
actually make an hourly rate.
But that's like, how much money do people make? What do? You make like a
I don't know. You help them
scam children.
You help them buy digital furniture from IKEA that they can't accept.
We're not giving you a digital Allen wrench. Get fucked.
The parts aren't.
We ran out. We ran out.
Manufacturing issues. They're on back order. All of our digital tools.
The Allen wrench DLC. You gotta
Allen wrench.
Ever heard of Alan Wake? It's like that.
Digital IKEA Roblox furniture.
My God.
My brand.
My brand.
It's like that banana clicking game. You guys see that on Steam? People
No.
getting pissed.
I heard somebody said it was a real game. I saw a thing that was like a news article where it was like, this is an actual game, developer says.
Yeah, so all it is a banana pops up on the screen every now and then.
Banana.
And you click it, and it got super popular. So the developer added like trading cards to it. And basically, he made a crap ton of money. Well, maybe. We don't actually know how much he made. Because all the bananas are AI generated and unique completely, right? So it makes unique trading cards you can sell and buy on the Steam marketplace. And because the way they work on Steam, even if one sells for only a penny, the developer makes a penny just from someone else, like that transaction occurring.
Dude, there are Steam shop for available items for this.
Yeah.
Like Crystal Banana Galaxy. What is this?
Yeah, so he's making like a ton of money off some stupid banana clicking game. And now a bunch of people are making games similar to it. It's
I love that this has
Steam.
This has the psychological heart attack.
Speaking of psychological horror, welcome to the third episode of Giant Enemy Crab. I'm here with the homies, me Fliz, that's Tsun. Good job, we got there. That's like
me Fliz.
Hello.
And the homie Strider. And we're talking about Banana Clicker? What?
So I guess we just want to segue into
it's just
that.
Titled Banana, yeah.
That's all it's named?
Yeah, just Banana.
You played The Forest.
Every three
horror.
Every 3 and 18 hours you get dropped a banana.
World. Yeah. The fucking tag system always coming in clutch on Steam.
So it's creating its own like NFTs.
Pretty much, yeah.
Well, isn't that fancy?
Banana teas.
It's strange. I know there's like a bunch of other games that are coming out that are trying to do the same thing that this one is. I don't know how much money the actual devs made on this. You know, it's hard to say. But
yeah, I mean it's like gambling, I guess. I was seeing a lot of the same stuff with like the stock market. Somebody does something, everybody's like, "Oh, GameStop. Well, let's also try FYE and fucking AMC. These other garbage companies." I assume it's the same way.
It's funny because there's negative reviews about the game claiming it's a scam and how it's just like an NFT farm, and pretty much they're just like downvoting the developer for finding an easy way to make a lot of money. But you can't even be mad at him really because it's a free game. It's literally just you click a banana and people are just doing that. That's all they're doing. They're making the choice.
Wrong. He's not charging people.
He's done nothing wrong. He's just like, here you go, I guess. If you guys
Let the
want to,
community.
Be mad at the
Yeah,
community.
pretty much, you can't even be mad at the guy. It's pretty. It's gotten so popular. He actually has a collaboration with Razer, apparently.
Wait,
Like a
Amazing.
banana colored
banana
mouse.
collaboration.
I guess I don't know. It's weird.
Hold on, let me get out my Razor banana.
Or no, it's
Like,
Oh.
I don't know what it is. It just says collaboration event Banana X Razer, but when you actually look at the posting, it doesn't say anything about any collaboration.
He's actually just completely lying the entire
Maybe it's just
time.
clickbait. I don't
Yeah,
know.
it's not Banana X Razor. It's Banana X Ruby. We know what's coming.
I found another one called Banana Shooter.
Oh God. Or some banana.
Not the
game.
same thing, but
Well, anyway,
also free.
that game is not a game. I don't care. I guess the big news is Elden Ring, and we'll get to that. I think we're gonna do spoiler free a little bit of Elden Ring stuff. There's some news and our thoughts so far, minus because one of us, I'm not gonna say who, I'm not a snitch. One of us hasn't played the game. So we're going to hold off on an actual in-depth discussion on Elden Ring, maybe next week. But until then, you guys got any fun news you got pulled up?
We were
About
talking-
Elden Ring or just in general?
No, just in general. We'll save Elden Ring for the end.
Gotcha.
There's some stuff on Elden Ring, but one small thing is that Microsoft has started sending out refunds for Redfall's Bite Back Edition.
Good.
Which is the deluxe edition. They
Oh.
finally got processed and started sending out refunds on Steam and the Microsoft Store, I believe.
Nice.
Still kind of crazy to see that they even like approve that. They're like, yeah, we'll give you guys refunds.
What's crazy is that, like, okay, the game is not great, right? But it's not the worst thing in the world, right? It's not a total
It's boring.
scam. It's not, well, it's only boring because you've played things like it before, you know? If you hadn't played anything like that before, you'd think that shit was fly. But it's, I know the AI for the enemies is non-existent and the game doesn't have a lot going on for it, but it's not worth trashing the whole studio and stuff, is it? Is it that bad?
I don't know. I don't know anything about the game, to be
I
honest.
don't
I haven't
think
looked
it
into it.
made.
It was like aggressively mediocre.
Yeah, okay, because we played it for
It
about
feels
2 hours
it's like
when
the
it came
perfect
out.
it's like the perfect type of game that you would see like someone in a movie or show playing. Like it's very uninspired.
Yeah. Yeah, when you walk by a TV in a movie and a kid's sitting there playing some horrible, like, this is so violent. It's just like a vampire getting shot.
Just
Yeah.
don't remember like much. We played it briefly, but I don't remember like much about playing it.
Literally the only thing I remember is that broken chimney that was just floating. That is the only thing I remember from that
I
game.
remember that. I don't think I saw it. So.
The chimney that's like floating like 3 feet off the roof.
Yeah. That sounds
That's all I
about right.
remember.
And then you got DC'd or something and we all just turned it off. Like, no, but nobody wanted to come back to that. Oh, that's good that people are getting refunds. I think, what was it last year? It was either Activision or Blizzard, Bethesda. Bethesda was buying up all the employees that the company had to lay off. So that's good.
Okay, it was Arcane Studio, right? I think is.
Yeah. Yep. They're the ones who made Redfall.
Yeah.
Which what was the other games that they came out with? I think they came out with Deathloop, right? Which
Arcane, I think.
Yes,
Were they
I
also responsible for Dishonored?
Yes, Dishonored.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, they did. Man, that
Yep.
sucks. They're gone
Prey.
now, huh? Didn't they close Arcane?
Yep.
Damn.
Oh, they also did the modern Prey remake.
Oh shit. Yeah, Prey was great. I remember Prey. That's
Yeah, Arcane had some good stuff. It really is rough.
I also had some of the Wolfenstein games. I
I
think.
keep hearing Prey come up. What is that? I've never played it or looked at it.
So
You probably like it actually. It's pretty cool.
yeah, it's a very like unique and custom setting. Pretty much, you play as a person aboard a space station,
Okay.
and you're fighting a hostile like alien invasion, where the aliens are like changelings. They can change into pretty much looking like anything, like any object. So you never know if you're actually walking like a chair you're walking past it or something is actually just an alien in disguise.
Yeah, mimic.
Yeah. So it's pretty much
Oh.
just you're surrounded by mimics constantly.
Should also note it's not just mimics. They're like the most numerous alien type.
Okay.
There are also larger ones that are even more dangerous.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a few different kinds. It's pretty good. Honestly, I remember when it came out, it caused a lot of hype. People.
Yeah,
love
yeah.
that
You also
game.
get like alien abilities too.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I know they came out with multiplayer eventually, but I never heard anything like.
Did they do
About that.
multiplayer? I know there was Moon
They did.
Crash, which was like I think like a survival thing, wasn't it?
Oh, maybe that's what it is. Yeah, I don't know anything about past the original game. That could be what the multiplayer was multiplayer survival.
Okay.
Because I believe I think it's an immersive sim in the vein of System Shock, right?
Yeah.
I
Oh,
think
that's one thing.
Is one of its big inspiration is System
It
Shock.
definitely is. Yeah.
Because I believe the genre of those type of games is known as immersive sims. I believe.
Yeah. I believe that's right. Yeah.
I don't know about System Shock. I'm not familiar with that. It just reminded me of like really polished BioShock, like clean BioShock is what Prey
When you were
reminded
describing
me of.
it, I was like, that sounds like maybe less action oriented Bioshock.
Yeah, it sounds like BioShock without all the nasty stuff happening. And
BioShock,
everything.
but with more
it's
pipes.
still
Yeah.
very much like there's still a lot of action. I mean,
Oh
but
yeah,
also
it is.
like yeah.
Okay.
But BioShock has that grimy feel to it that Prey
Yeah.
doesn't have.
I mean that's what it wants though.
Yeah.
Well, that's good.
It also reminded me I gotta try playing the System Shock remake at some point.
Isn't System Shock the prequel to Soma? Or am I thinking of something else?
No,
You might be
no.
thinking of something else.
System Shock. I believe it's its own.
Yeah, System Shock's its own
one and
thing.
two
Okay.
plus the remake.
I could swear
they
Soma
popular-
was something, but never mind.
They popularized a specific subgenre of these type of games, where it's like heavy focus on your character building,
Ah.
which will allow you to approach situations in a very different way. It's very similar to Deus Ex. So
Yeah.
Deus Ex is also considered an immersive sim.
I've been
No,
watching
it totally is.
H Bomber guys reviews of Deus Ex. It's like 3 hours long and it keeps ending and then repeating, and I just leave it on. I don't know why.
It's your own Groundhog Day.
It kind of is, man. But I like know everything about Deus Ex at this point, but I've never watched the actual gameplay. It's just on the noise. I still don't know what the game really looks like.
You just hears the voices.
Yeah, kind of. You know, it's just noise.
All I know about Deus Ex is a cyborg man. That's all I know about it.
Well, okay.
They're cool series.
So the best one, it's more along the lines of like yes, cyborg man, but you adapt, not adapt, what's the word I'm looking, you alter your character with robotics how you want to, and there's like all kinds of skill trees and stuff, and a lot of the idea behind the better ones, or one, I don't know, is freedom of choice when it comes to completing objectives and whatnot. You could sneak in, you could hack in, you could kill your way in, you could talk your way in. You know, it's one of those kind of things.
Gotcha. Just you can play your way.
Exactly. That's the big appeal.
That's
And
pretty cool.
It was like really ahead of its time when it first came out, because it's been like what, like 2000, maybe a little before that.
Oh yeah, no, it's before
the-
my real time.
There are modern
real
games that
time.
struggle to do that
Yep.
or even implement it at all, if ever.
That was the main thing. Is like there was this freedom of choice, but also like choices matter, and like with a lot of games that talk about choices in, you know, as a big effect. I guess Baldur's Gate is the one that really dives into that, but a lot of them are kind of like, here's your choice. Do you say no or say no a different way? Like none of it
Everyone
matters.
Mass Effect in general.
Yeah.
Your
Oh,
reward is one
no,
extra line of dialogue.
I've been actually giving Disco Elysium a good fair try, and that game has a lot of stuff like that.
Does it?
What
Yeah.
kind of game is that? I've
Disco
heard nothing
Elysium
but good
is-
things, but
So
is it a game or is it a
it's basically like it's. Well, I mean, it's a game that like Baldur's Gate, like RPG style wise, but most of it is like dialogue.
Oh, okay.
But
Do you-
like because all your skills are like facets of your character's personality or like everything else. So I don't even know where to start, man. There's so much to that fucking game.
It's mostly talking to people and
It's like a social
Yeah.
simulator, right?
okay.
To an
I
extent.
don't know if I'd say that. I mean, your character argues with his own fucking like mind and
Oh,
immune system and stuff. Because they all chime in.
Argue
Schizo
with my
simulator.
immune system.
Dude, okay, I went a skill called was it Inland Empire, which is like it's a super imaginative type thing. And at one point, investigating the dead body, I was talking to the dead body and my necktie at the same time.
Ah,
Yeah, things were getting weird. I was like, I don't know where this is going, but I'm super super into seeing where it was going.
and that like changes for every playthrough or something, or like
Oh yeah, it depends. It all depends on what you've taken. And they're like leveling up
'Cause,
and
like,
stuff.
I know, like, in Disco Elysium, it's the game I want to play because I haven't played myself yet. But I know there's things like like certain story branches and like ways things will unfold will only happen if you fail specific checks.
Yeah,
Just failure can lead to success.
yeah.
Like,
Certain red
sometimes
checks.
failure of the check is the good outcome. For what you are.
Oh.
And
I'm
certain
trying to find
things.
the review that I remember, but there's literally like some person's like you can like drop kick someone in like the first 10 minutes of the game and get thrown out of a bar.
And there are certain things too, like certain small things maybe where you could say it or do something, and then it comes down later on in either a good or a bad way. Like, oh, I completely forgot I even did that, but now it's influencing this part of the conversation with this far down the road.
Well, that's cool. I like that.
It is really in depth.
I find like games with replayability really difficult for me to like actually replay them. I would because there's
There's
just so
actually-
much.
I actually was thinking about this. I don't think I've ever seen you replay anything that isn't a multiplayer game.
No, because I
matter
don't.
what it is, it's one-
I've done it. There's just so much shit, man. You can't be bothered to beat fucking Revenge. The Revengeance is the one I've come the closest to.
You
Revenge
still
is
haven't technically
fantastic.
finished it.
I still have to finish the DLC.
The two
Oh,
DLCs
dude, you
did.
have to. No, you have to. Those DLCs are fantastic.
I know, but it made me be the dog, and that one wasn't very interesting to me. And
but the
that's
Jet
not
Shoes
the good
Sam
one.
one-
Yeah,
The
I
Sam one is
know.
The
fantastic.
Sam one is like top tier.
Okay, maybe I'll
It's
have
only
to
like
get
40
into that.
It's only like 40 minutes, too.
And I don't need to beat a game because if I wait a couple years, they'll just remake it and it'll be brand new and fancy from a different, over the shoulder view. That's
I mean, you're going to
perfectly
be waiting
fine.
a while probably for remakes, is what I would think. But what? We have a remake of a remake for fucking Halo, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, they're doing. I
Yeah,
forgot they're doing Combat Evolved again.
They're doing it after fucking 12 years.
Why?
They talked
No,
about
we
bringing it to
can tell you.
PlayStation,
Why?
I think.
Why? Okay.
which is a very interesting thing because that was not what you imagined back in Halo's heyday.
No,
Yeah.
but I wouldn't have imagined they'd just be remaking Halo again 20 years later,
At least like do it different or something. I don't know, like Halo 1 in the style of like one of those Doom shooters. Would be
I mean,
cool.
we just-
As far as I know, there's only like the first 3 Halo games and everything else is kind of trash.
no.
I liked Reach.
Reach and ODST.
I was gonna say ODST.
ODST.
ODST, I think, is hailed as one of the best.
After that, it gets a little.
Well, how many are more after that? Or is that or does it just have kind of a good library of games?
It's 4 and 5 were pretty meh.
4 and 5, yeah, were Guardians, especially. Oh my gosh.
Well,
Yeah, and
Was
then some
5
of the
Guardians?
offshoots too. Halo Wars 1 was pretty nice. I did not like Halo Wars 2. I don't know. It seems like the first 3 games are like the core of the entire franchise. almost.
Basically, everything that's in the Master Chief Collection.
Yeah,
Yeah.
pretty much. That's what everyone enjoys. I really liked Reach, but people.
Because
That's
4 was when
decisive.
it changed studios,
Divisive.
right? To 343.
I think so. Yeah, I think 4
Because the
was
Master
when they
Chief
changed.
Collection is the Bungie Collection, basically, where
Mhm.
Bungie was in charge of it. And then after that,
Bungie.
3
I'm sorry. Oh my god. I don't know why, but that got me. All right, sorry. You might have
Continue.
done.
I've completely lost where I was.
All right.
You reminded me of talking about Halo. I watched a video the other day. Apparently at GDQ, Games Done Quick, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think last year this happened. I don't remember which one it was. They invited a guy to come do a Halo 1 speedrun for the event.
Mm-hmm.
And apparently he used to be like the number one speedrunner like a long time ago. He was in the Guinness World Records for this. This is like way back.
Okay.
And they invited him on there. And then we quickly found out that the speed run that he did was actually completely fake. Because he showed up and he tried to speed run Halo 1, and it became so clear that he may have never played this game before in his life.
Nice.
Yeah.
When did that happen?
How hard could it
I
be?
swear I saw something about that.
The video I think is kind of recent. I don't know when it actually happened
okay.
though. But it was so funny. Like he did like I think 2 speedrunning tricks or something, and he had to turn the difficulty down like 2 times because it's supposed to be on the max difficulty, legendary. And he had to go like just above easy to like normal, and he was still like dying. And I'm just like watching, like, bro, I beat this game when I was like 6. Come on.
It's a speedrunner strat, dog. You just don't
And
understand.
I don't know why he showed up and agreed to do it, because it's not like he was forced to. They just
I'm sure
asked,
he
like,
was paid to.
I don't know, to be honest. I don't know if GDQ actually do they pay. I know they pay
would
like you to
assume.
come out there,
That's
and
what I'm
they'll pay
saying.
for room and board.
Yeah, so we got a
know,
free trip. He got to hang out. He got to he got to be in the spotlight again for a brief moment. Well, I
It was
guess for a
supposed
longer
to be.
moment.
It was supposed to be like 2 hours, and he ended up playing the game for like 4.5 hours or something ridiculous.
Did he finish it?
Most of the people
did?
They
most
let him
of
wait.
people's estimates are under or like over what they usually come in.
Yeah,
They
they
usually
are.
try to give themselves like 30, like an extra 33% of their expected runtime is leeway for setup and closing out.
Hmm.
Also, shout outs because GDQ actually starts a week from now.
They do. I was gonna say
On
that.
30
Yeah, they start
yep,
next
on the
week.
30th.
And is
Yeah.
that like a charity situation? Okay.
Usually, yeah.
They usually raise a few million, I think, right now is their
Yeah.
average.
It's a very
large-
successful one.
Is this
It
like
is.
a big thing, or is this the thing I've seen probably around where everybody's kind of sitting in folding chairs with stuffed animals and like?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
the folding chair thing.
Oh
yeah, it's a good,
no. Okay.
There's summer games
What
done
the-
quick. There's summer games done quick, and then there's just games done quick. I think.
AGDQ is that?
Oh yeah, awesome games done quick. That's what it is.
Usually, any viral videos you see about it are going to be like something
Yeah, I was gonna
cringe
say
happening.
I only seen the cringe ones where like
You're
people
gonna-
have no social
Dude.
skills.
Yeah, that's usually what you're going to.
There's
But
one of the most-
actually, it's actually a good show.
I'm sure. They
raise
do a lot of
money.
good. That
Yeah.
makes sense. I just have only seen the bad.
One of the most infamous fucking videos, dude. That I would appreciate if you stopped talking one.
Oh yeah. Oh, and isn't that the one where they're like having a good time and the lady just starts talking about like her mom has cancer
Oh,
or something and
yeah.
like it gets very
I don't
uncomfortable.
remember that one, but
Okay.
Yeah, 'cause it's
Go
but
for it.
one of the actually the Metal Gear Rising Vengeance one, I think also caused some controversy from the last event
Ooh, why?
did it?
because it was a pre-recorded thing.
Oh
Because-
no.
because-
Yep. I
Yeah,
remember
because
that.
so the guy got busted
Oh.
for it pretty fast, as I believe like a week after or something like that.
Yeah.
'cause
Because
it
what
was-
happened is he did the whole thing because he was doing it remotely. He didn't show up to the actual event. So he just like pretended to play video. But someone had asked him to do the DLC for it too, I think, is what it was, where you play
Yeah,
as
'cause
like
I
the
think
wolf.
Mhm.
I think it was the incentives.
Yeah.
It was he did one of the
Oh.
DLCs, but the other one I think was pre-recorded,
Oh.
if I'm remembering the event correctly.
And
and
when he tried to do the actual DLC like himself, he wasn't able to speedrun it, right?
Oh.
And so people like took a closer look at what he was doing, and they noticed that sometimes his like things would move on screen, like he'd be doing stuff, even though he was like scratching at his face or whatever.
Yeah.
Like they caught him pretty easily after that.
Well, it does a lot of good. So aside from those things, it's a good thing. Did you guys like Stray?
Stray, I thought it was an interesting game.
Did you play it?
I didn't play it.
I don't really know anything about it.
Well,
It's pretty much like an exploration kind of adventure game than anything else, where you
All I
play
know
as
is
a cat.
Yeah. That's it. That's all I know about is cat.
well, it's finally coming to Switch.
Let's go.
Except, what do you think
Except-
happens when things go to Switch?
It's
They get muddy.
They get ugly as shit. So that's all. It's just if you wanted to play Stray, it's coming to Switch, but it's gonna look like shit, which is I think the game is touted on how it looks. So I don't know why
It
we
is a
even
nice
do
looking
that.
game.
I don't think graphically wise, I think it's more just
Like
like it's one of
aesthetic.
those games where you kind of wish there was another game that was made that took place in this world, but was not what it is.
I never thought
You
about
know?
that. What if the game is legitimately like we had an idea and we just couldn't make a game out of it? So you get to kind of just explore the world we came up with, and that's
Yeah,
it.
Hey, man,
That's kind of what
Cyberpunk was
what I
cool.
felt about Stray. Like it's a good game just for what it is, but I just want the same like world and like what it takes place in as something else. Kind of reminds me almost of like Nier Automata with kind of like almost a post-apocalyptic world that's got going on. It's very interesting.
Yeah, it's like a Love, Death, and Robots short
Yeah,
in a game.
pretty much.
Oh,
Yeah,
I love that show.
it's got great world building and everything. It's just it's not for everyone. It's just one of those adventure walkthrough games that you do. But
Well,
I-
I know people liked it. I hard passed on it. That's not I'm not about that.
it definitely got points for having a cat as the main
Oh
character.
my god.
Hey, man.
People would not
you know
shut up
what?
about the cat.
I will shut up. I'll shut up.
Kitties.
Because I'm
I
not
can't
going to
believe-
say anything. Man.
You know, like
I
cats, man.
can't believe Stray got a Game of the Year contender.
I like cats. I
There's
just
one
don't like them the way people have idolized them for all of humankind lifespan. It's not a recent thing. It's been going on since ancient Egypt. It's fine. Don't worry about it.
True, true. Speaking of old titles, though,
Ooh, League of
Captain
Legends.
Blood is coming
You
out.
said this before. What the fuck is
Finally.
Captain Blood?
So Captain Blood, it was a game that they announced back in like 2004.
Okay.
And just to give you an idea, that it was supposed to be released for the original Xbox, like the black and green one.
The
And
OG.
pretty much, yeah. So it had like a ton of different issues, I guess. Like they kept restarting the project over and over. Like at one point they just redid the whole game because they wanted to change the tone of it and make it more like mature.
Okay.
Then they had a new publisher to release the game in Europe and the United States because it was originally, I believe, a Russian game. But then the original developer got sold to the original publisher, which also played into a legal battle between that publisher and the United States and Europe publisher. Like just a huge mess. And eventually in 2010, it just went completely quiet and we never heard anything about it. Right.
Okay.
2 years ago, someone, I think it's the actual devs, they released the entire game engine for the game on GitHub under GLP license. And this was right after someone had leaked the full game online. You can actually just download it and play it like right now if you wanted to.
No.
Right. And then they announced a week ago, I think it was like a week ago, that they're finally releasing Captain Blood. It's coming to Steam, which is interesting.
So is it just like a FPS that's just been stuck in development hell?
It's more like kind of like Fable. It's like a Fable-esque RPG where you
Oh.
play
I say
as
it
like
look more
a
third
pirate
person.
captain. Yeah, it's very hack and slashy. What's interesting is we're gonna have like a game that's tried and true, like made back in 2004, releasing now for the first time, which is going to be kind of interesting, almost like a nostalgic-esque. This is what games were like back then. Because from what I know, it's the same engine. Like they haven't changed the engine. It's just the graphics are going to be like sharper. That's about it.
Yeah, I don't know if that's a good thing. Like games have
I will say-
definitely advanced.
It's going to be interesting. I don't know.
Visually,
Yeah.
Visually, I get a lot of nostalgia from looking at that like trailer,
Yeah,
and I'm into it. Like
yeah, it reminds me of Fable 2, to be honest,
Yeah.
just looking at it.
straight up.
And I love Fable 2. But I don't know how this is going to work, right? Because the source code for the game engine was released on a GPL v3 license.
Okay.
And basically what that means is a license that kind of like Linux and Ubuntu were kind of like forged on. It's a really good like open source license, because what it does is when you make something with it, you're saying anyone else can do whatever they want to what I've made here,
Mhm.
right? You can change it, you can resell it and charge people for it, you can do whatever. But no matter what, whatever you make with this software also has to have this license. So the next person can do the same thing to whatever you make,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
So if they made this game under that engine, does that mean technically they have to release the source code for the entire game too
I
when it's released?
hope so. That'll be fun.
which is strange, because that means if you didn't really want to, you could just download the source code and just, you don't have to pay for the game. Like, that's part of the license.
I mean, what are they expecting to do with a game that's 20 years old? Like, are they really? Is it going to be a
There's no
AAA
pricing or
banger?
anything.
Yeah, like,
It might even be free. I don't know, but it's not like unheard of. I know Ace Bright, which is on Steam. It's like it's a program they use to make pixel art.
hmm.
They charge $20 on Steam, but if you actually go to their website, you can just download the source code. And they even say on there, you're allowed to do this. You can just download the source code and then just compile it, and you just have the program from there. Like, you don't have to pay money for it. You can even just change it because it's all there, and you just do whatever you want with it. But they still charge $20 directly on Steam. So, they might do something similar to that with Captain Blood too, where you can
Okay.
just pay for it to support the developer.
Well, nice. Well, that's fun. Are you going to play it?
Probably. I'll probably give it a shot.
All right.
It's tempting. It looks pretty neat.
I watched a part of a playthrough of the original game, because you can download it. There's a leak for a torrent to actually play it how it was, and it's not 100% done, but it's almost completely finished. Like, there's some polish, and like the credits aren't done.
Mhm.
That's about it. But you can play through the whole game, and it's pretty much just like old God of War if there was no like climbing or puzzles. You were just constantly fighting the whole time.
Pirates.
It looks kind of exhausting, to be honest.
Like, what was that game y'all were playing where all you did was mash attack? Yeah, and y'all were just grinding you were going hard. What was that? Grand Blue.
Oh, Grand Blue Fantasy.
Yeah, I'd watch that.
There's some cool moments. You get a fight on a ship, and like you're fighting all these guys, but you also take hold of the cannons and shoot at the other ships that are firing at you. It's kind of cool. The engine's wholly custom made for this game, so it's pretty. It's got some interesting mechanics for the time.
All right.
Yeah, Grand Blue's updates eventually pushed the game into a difficulty level that was probably comparable to like Final Fantasy XIV's like Savage Raids. Like that final fight that they've added most recently, I haven't even finished
Oh.
because it's a little difficult. Like, it takes a maxed out character, fully geared and ready for it, and you still need to be good enough to actually do it.
Nah, I would win.
It's
Easy.
it's a little crazy because one of the big things is that it's on a very, very strict timer, which is the first time it's ever done that to the game. It's these new super hard quests where like you have to finish them in 10 minutes, which means
it's
you
one
have
of those
to-
timers.
you have to have a strong enough loadout that is mostly offensive focused, and you have to play well enough. Otherwise, you'll time out.
Oh. Okay. So yeah, Final Fantasy 14. Like DPS checks and stuff.
Yep.
Well,
we did some of that.
we are excited for Dawn Trail. That's coming next week.
Yeah.
It is. Yep.
Yeah, I'm
It's
pre-order.
Ooh. I don't
I
think
think
any of us are
Friday?
totally caught up, right?
Thursday.
I'm
I'm ready to go.
close.
All right. In anticipation of Dawn Trail, Dawn Trail, soon tell us the story of Final Fantasy in 2.5 minutes. Ready?
There's not
Go.
enough time.
Come on. Well, you watched
Why
all
is
the
not enough
cutscenes.
time?
300 hours.
Doesn't even cover fucking Realm Reborn, dude. Like, what do you think?
It's funny. Like, I looked up a couple of videos of like, because when I played Final Fantasy 14, obviously I skipped. Not obviously. Well, if you know me, I skipped everything and just played the game, as did a couple of us.
Me.
I tried. I really tried, but after 30 hours, I was done.
I stuck with it the entire fucking
I
week.
need to
did.
catch up with you guys. I had like 200 hours to go, and I had to catch up. And I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna get there as fast as I can, so I can
That's-
experience the new stuff with you.
It's so tough to tell somebody, "Hey, come join us for this game." Talk to us in about 80 hours, 100 hours. I don't know. Then maybe we can do something with you. But just do that.
Oh,
We'll see
it
you in a
was like-
couple weeks.
it was literally I'd wake up, hop on, grind out the MSQ. You guys would hop on, so you guys would help me anytime I got to a dungeon or trial or whatever. And then I'd go to sleep after playing the game for 12 hours, wake up the next day, do it again.
Oh my god.
Because you guys, I think, when I started Realm Reborn, you were at the end of Stormblood. I think was where you guys were at. I think you had just gotten to like the Omega weapon. Like the very
we were
very
definitely
end
ahead of
it.
you.
And then
Yeah.
I ended up, I think, getting to the end of Shadowbringers before you guys did. Was how fast I was playing through that.
Yeah.
My fucking face was melting by the end of Realm Reborn. That shit is so boring. I need to rant about this. That fucking quest chain for the post story thing was just where I clocked out.
Which one
It's
was that?
The very first, the base game,
The
like
base
before
game.
before the first expansion, like
Vanilla.
I may have erased it from my memory. If it was nothing, I remember following people around, and I hated
You
that.
skipped things. You skipped it all anyways.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
made you remember.
It's the it's what you're dealing with, like stopping the primals, like the original primals like Ifrit, Garuda, and Titan.
Mm-hmm.
It was like right after Garuda that I just fucking blocked out, and I was like, I can't deal with this. It's so slow. It's so boring. Nothing's really happening.
Oh, the actual
Which-
story. You're not talking about playing the game. You're saying the story. You're
No.
like, nah, I can't.
No, the quest design also started driving me insane.
I
When it
thought
asked me
that's
to,
what
like,
you were
start
talking
fucking
about.
Washing someone's shirt or some shit. like I'm like, what am I doing with my life?
I just defeated gods. Now I'm going to be an apple farmer.
It's like the lowest. It's the lowest point, in my opinion, of that entire thing. Is like end of Realm Reborn to like the 0.1, 0.2, 0.3, 0.4, 0.5 patches after, because they're so long compared to the other ones.
Which,
Yeah.
I mean, all I
It's like-
remember is you talk to a person, then go somewhere. That's like for like 300 hours. You
That's the
talk
whole
to a
game,
person
to be
and you go
honest.
somewhere, and then you talk to a person and you go somewhere. Turn the page.
Yeah, well, I
you
mean,
wash
to be
your
fair, what do you
hands.
do in other games? You talk to a person to do something usually. It's not specific to just one game.
I am not trash talking the game soon. It's okay. I like Final Fantasy.
I mean, it's really noticeable though, because the design of 16 was the same way. Of
16.
like real Final Fantasy 16 of
Oh, I
because
never
it's
played it.
no,
Oh, wait,
I
I
didn't
did.
play it.
Is that the boy
I don't
band
know.
one?
No,
Or is that 15?
No, that's
that's
15.
15. 16 is coming to PC sometime this year, I think.
Oh, cool.
Okay.
Yeah.
That it's like supposed like in that whole leak for the Epic Game Store, 16 was on there.
Oh, okay.
So we know it's coming somewhat soon, I think.
Oh, good.
Oh, hold me that. But it's very similar quest design of like walk here, talk to this person, go to the next place, talk to this person, have some random fight against 4 things. I mean,
Yeah.
it's spliced up with more like dungeons, but there is a very noticeable part in 16 that just made me realize, like really pointed it out. It's like right after this massive story beat, one of the best bosses in the game. There's a point where it has to do a bunch of boring ass side quests for like 90 minutes, and it grinds the entire narrative to a halt.
Oh.
Well, we got to do your laundry.
You gotta watch
You
that
do,
shit,
like,
dog.
I think
Yeah.
you literally have to like fetch groceries at one point or some shit.
Gotta eat.
You gotta
You
fucking
gotta
eat.
You gotta
Yeah.
stay humble, man. Even when you're
But
at the
like-
top, even when you killed God, you gotta stay humble.
You can't always just eat nuggies, man. You gotta go eat a fucking cabbage at some point.
I mean, that's every MMO and RPG, and there's always a point.
It's like really bad though because of like just how slow it brings it down. Because
Well-
what follows shortly after it is probably potentially like the highest point in the game. So it's like extra noticeable.
Well, you gotta
like,
remember.
retrospect.
You gotta remember too. Some people actually just enjoy that stuff too. Like if you look at how popular some games are, like Stardew Valley, where like that's kind of all you do is just tedious stuff all the time.
And again, yeah, like I mean, I found Stardew Valley pretty entertaining. So
Yeah, and
Yeah,
it
I
is.
do as well.
I've beaten
It
it.
just it's just like it's a detriment with the way it's laid out. Like it actively, in my opinion, brings the game down just because of pacing issues. Like they're not because the way the story beats are working is that like it's building up towards what follows after. But the very slog that it is, it doesn't feel even like very rewarding or necessary. Like it definitely feels like padding for the sake of padding. Is my main problem with that is, and that's what a bunch of 14 felt like. Some of those moments from what is like some of those things like felt like you could have narrowed that down a bit, and they have. They've actually taken, I think, a good chunk of the original base game for Realm Reborn out. There's like 20 or something quests they had to cut at some point.
Yeah, they did. I think it's also just because the playtime for the whole game has gotten very long at this point.
Like I said in the beginning, it's hard to tell somebody, "Hey, join
Yeah.
up with us." Like, how do you get a friend to sign on to that?
Yeah, it's a little much.
you just recommend the game.
And half of their life.
So if I recommended, hey,
Not
you want to come play this game with
even.
me, you're willing to put 250 hours into it? Because
I
that's
have.
what you're asking people to now.
No, I disagree with that because it's kind of like that argument of like watching good shows where it's like, yeah, by the time you get to season 3, episode 400, it gets really good. Like, no, if you that's not how it works. It's just you will get there if it's a good show no matter what because it's good, not because it gets good at that point. And FF14 is the same way. If someone's going to enjoy the game, it's not going to be once they finally get to the latest DLC. They're just going to play through the game naturally and have a good time. And if they don't, then yeah, that's just how it is. They just don't enjoy the game.
I mean, one of the big things with Final Fantasy, this is secondhand information, is that like the most critically acclaimed part, one of the most critically acclaimed part of it is its story. But from what I've seen a lot of people say as a sentiment is that the story really picks up around the first expansion. Like it is a significant step up, and I keep seeing this this take from people and from people I've talked to.
I mean, sure, but like there was a point where we didn't have that first expansion. People still played it, and then the first expansion came out, and it was better than the base game. That's
Realm
what I'm saying.
Reborn was
It's
setting up
like,
the foundation.
You can't judge the whole game just because the latter parts are better than the first.
I mean, if you look at it, like what are expansions? They're always looking to like iterate in better ways and stuff, right?
Exactly.
They're
yeah.
always looking to improve.
Not the
And I mean-
PvP.
They tried.
I mean,
They
the original
tried.
Final Fantasy XIV was a complete failure.
Yeah, that's true. They just dusted it. They nuked the fuck out of it.
Hey man, they tied that in the Realm Reborn in a really cool way.
Yeah,
like,
and then they made a Realm Reborn,
That's nice.
and people enjoyed that.
It is. I don't think like it's really a divisive thing because like nobody. I don't know anybody who hates Final Fantasy 14. For there's things people may not like about, but there's so much good in there too. Like,
Yeah.
But I've seen a lot of people say that they didn't want to get into Final Fantasy 14 or join people for Final Fantasy 14 because it's such a long thing.
yeah, yeah.
Because
I can't.
That's just MMOs though. Like you could say the same thing about like World
I
of
don't
Warcraft
know.
and stuff too.
No, Warcraft, you can catch up to your people pretty quickly. Like
it's hundreds of hours.
Well,
to catch
nowadays
up
you
to
can
someone.
because you can choose whatever
Unless you pay
expansion you
money.
want.
yeah,
Yeah.
and Warcraft's a little bit different, but
Yeah, but and that's
Warcraft's
that's the
disjointed
difference. It's a
itself.
different type of game where the story is kind of is much more of a not a mess. It's not designed to be taken in.
It's not
the same
like a
way.
single coherent thing anymore.
Yeah,
In
it's
Warcraft.
not. And that
I mean-
has its own disadvantages too.
it's fine. Just watch the movie; it'll tell you everything you need to know.
I've never
Well,
actually watched the WoW movie.
I have. I didn't. I liked it,
Did
but
you?
it does not. It's just a retelling basically of how the orcs came to Azeroth,
I mean, I think there's even people in this
as far as it
Discord
goes.
that didn't play Final Fantasy 14 because it was so long.
Yeah, I'm like not debating that's a thing
Yeah.
people would say no to simply because of time. Like yeah, that's totally
It's a
fair.
lot of time to invest. Yeah,
I
really
put almost
is.
1,500 hours in this game, and I'll put in so much more.
Yeah, I've got like almost 800 or something.
I just don't know how you would fix it. Like, what would you do to fix the issue?
You'd nuke it, right? And then start
Start a
a
North
realm reborn again
Yeah,
Christian.
Reborn-iner.
No, man,
Reborn-iner.
Like you can't discard the fact again that like a Realm Reborn sets the foundation for a lot of what comes. Like that's, I mean, it might not seem like it at the time, but then like I noticed things every time back, and it was like, oh shit, like, that was
Yeah,
a really super creative way to have that come back, and it was really cool.
I have no stake in this argument. I don't know what
Yeah.
happened in any of the expansions or the base game.
Now does the Realm Reborn drag on? Yes, but as someone who actually paid attention, I feel like it paid off big time.
Yeah, I don't think it's worth like trying to cut out so many expansions just to get people to catch up faster, because then you kind of run to the issue that I remember in when I played WoW, which was when you used Dungeon Finder, and I would get dungeons that I had never done before ever because I didn't play that expansion at all, and
Yeah.
it would put me in there, and I have no idea what I was doing or what I
WoW's whole thing, World of Warcraft's whole thing now is when you're leveling, you pick your favorite expansion, whichever one interests you the most to level in.
Is that what it is now?
Pretty much, and then
Okay.
once you reach like, say, I think the current level cap 70 in that. When you get the current expansion Dragonflight, when you get the level that you can start that, then you move on to the new expansion.
Yeah, but with Final Fantasy, because you have to play through the story, you can get introduced to each dungeon that you unlock, and you just can't do dungeons that you haven't like unlocked through the story.
That is one of my favorite things,
Something.
is that a lot of the dungeons tie into the story or a side quest in some way.
Yeah, so it makes it much more natural to unlock and learn dungeons without feeling like you're jumping into a random thing and you have no idea what to expect. Because I remember that, and wow, that sucked.
What if?
WoW has side quests to unlock dungeons, but
What if
I don't know, it's not the same.
they gave you could play the story all the way through, yada yada, yada, but they also gave you like a job class that was maxed out, not maxed out, but like up to the current expansion without having to pay for it.
I mean, I think the main thing is just the fact that they do sell those in the store. But
Yeah, you could. I think like the only real way you could do it. See, an issue with doing that is then you're stuck with having someone having to figure out what a max level class does with all their buttons unlocked.
Yeah, that's
Which-
one of the things that's like the most daunting about boosting your character.
Which I had an issue with. I've had this problem in Star Wars, the Old Republic, the MMO. I
Oh
think it's
yeah,
called the Old Republic.
you get so much stuff.
I remember because I used to play it when I was younger, and I found out like a few years ago that my mom never like took the credit card off the account. So apparently she'd been paying for it for like years and years.
Oh my god.
But one of the things they rewarded me with like a max level up thing, right? So I was like, oh cool. I'll try out a max level character. I never got to max level when I played the game before, and then I just kind of looked at all the different stuff that I could do. And I had like lightsabers and shit, which I also was never able to, or no, I was able to get one lightsaber, but it wasn't a good one. And this was like a really good one. And I was like, I don't want to play anymore.
Well, we had when we were getting our Final Fantasy shit on, we had a guy, one of our buddies, and he said, "Yeah, I'll come play with you," and he just immediately bought 2 like max level job classes, played for like a day, couldn't figure it out, and said the game is boring and never came back.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Caleb.
Oh, that's
Oh my
right.
God.
I forgot that he did that. Yeah, no, that it's totally a thing. So I don't think that fixes an issue either.
No.
I
Sell
think
that
what you have
motherfucker
to
out.
do is make like a state of play where you can play through the game with the story like summarized through each dungeon. Something like that, where like it kind of just summarizes the story and then you move and go do the next dungeon. And
That
your character levels up as you
faster and like gets you
Yeah,
like
like
gives
it
you
just
the next
levels you to the
character.
next
Bring you to
requirement.
the level of the next dungeon would be.
Exactly.
You could do that. You could like have a info dump dungeon system, and like new players can choose to go through there where, you know, hey, we're going to tell you the tale of everything that's happened over the last billion years, and man,
Last
that would
billion
be
years.
well, I don't know. I couldn't tell you the first thing about
Good
what's going on in
Julian.
that game. I know there's different dimensions. So once you introduce stuff like that, anything's
Reflections.
possible. The
True.
characters could be billions of years old. I don't know.
No, we're going on Resort Island.
Or
Bro.
maybe their dreams brought to life by the people in distress.
I'm looking
or
forward
something.
after reading the article saying that Dawn Trail has Elden Ring inspiration. I look forward to seeing what the new continent we get to explore looks like.
It's just one chest that fucking kills you if you open it.
I know we asked this and we never got like an answer. Soon, what exactly is Dawn Trail going to be about?
So it basically we're just at the moment we're just looking for a new adventure.
Oh, okay, so it's
because
literally just a
the
fresh
latest
reset.
because the arc Endwalker was the finishing of like our first like big arc, you know, Zodiac, Hydaelyn, and all that.
Mhm.
Yeah, like we saved the world. It's time to look for a new adventure. That's
Okay, that's-
basically it.
We're gonna
That's really
start
good.
shit. I hope we're the bad guys.
So we're going
Right.
to the new world, the Aryan Dawn Trail, because it's mainly, you know, not many people really know much
Ooh,
about it
we're gonna
besides
colonize
the
it.
natives.
This is
No, it's
like-
We're gonna bring
it's
our
all-
blankets and
It's
give them to the
already
natives.
there's already people living there, man. But like,
I know. We're gonna
there's
make
not much
that
known
a
about
not
it.
problem anymore.
because the areas we've been to, like that's like yeah, that's our known part of the world, but there are lesser explored regions, and that's where we're going with the new world.
Yeah, I am.
I
Okay.
can't wait to punch out another god. This is just a yeast game.
No, we're just gonna fight like a hippo or something. That's gonna be really
If
strong.
we end up shipwrecked, I'm done. We're just anal.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm looking forward to finding out. Though is like, you know, what are we encountering? What are we fighting? Because like we fought some pretty big enemies at this point.
A giant
Like what?
clown,
What other like powerful
a rock
beings
monster
can we
on a
fight?
dune buggy.
Yeah.
and that was a memory
That's
creation that
the
would
most
wacky.
memorable fight in the game for
Dude.
me.
Dude, Eden Titan is fucking insane. Eden Titan.
When he's he's got the little ATV and the stage starts falling apart. That was my favorite fight.
That was such a train wreck of our fight. What we had, I think the 8 of the people we had in that run died like 90 times on a successful run or something like that.
Didn't we have some like superhero red mages that run though? That like
yeah,
kept
I think
resurrecting
we had
people?
2 red
people.
mages.
They were the MVPs that like that run.
My favorite was our fucking healer level 3 limit break into everyone who just got res getting shoved off and dying.
Yeah, really, that was the roughest time.
Can't tell we're excited for Dawn Trail.
Yeah, the more I'm talking about it, the more excited I'm getting. There was a lot of. If I go back and play now, is there new stuff I haven't done? Because we kind of tapped out.
From what we have, there's 3 quests. There's 3 quests for where we stopped that you
Okay.
have to do before.
Yeah, there's MSQs.
All right, I should
I
go
will-
back and I'm paying for it. I might as well.
The only thing I want is those. What are they? The criteria dungeons?
Yeah, we
I
should
want there
go
to
back
actually
do that.
be a reason to do it, because I didn't realize that there's pretty much like you don't get anything for really doing
when,
them.
when you
For
told
ours.
us that, Strider, like that's when I kind of
Yeah.
got less interested. Like if it gave you a
It's-
certain amount of currency every time you tried and got to a certain point, it, like, you know, you could buy stuff with that was interesting, but it's hard
I
to.
think you earn it when you complete it. Is the
Yeah, but it's
But you can't do anything with it. It doesn't actually.
The last ones, they've actually added something important because they added the weapons that are on par with Savage. Or Ultimate. It's like they were tied for highest level equipment. It's that the one we were doing was the first one they made, and they hadn't quite figured out what they wanted to put as rewards for it. But they made it equivalent.
Oh.
They made it equivalents to the Ultimate, I believe. For I think the Savage version of it, or
That's
the
cool.
normal version.
Yeah, we should go do that. Because honestly, doing those Criterion dungeons was a lot of fun. It's just once we looked up and found that, like,
my
you
God,
don't
we
get
got ass
anything for
kicked.
doing this.
We actually, what we really need to learn is a full 2-minute rotation. Is definitely what we would need to learn.
well, like we had things perfect. Like we up to where we were, like we figured out for the most part what we were doing. It's just we got to a new part and everybody was tired by that point, and then we just never went back to it.
I mean, for a lot
Wait,
of
what do you mean? You guys were just following me around.
Only for that first part.
Oh, Lionel. Or no, I go to the opposite of where you go. I remember.
Well, that's later on in the fight.
Yeah, the reason we're not playing that is because we've all been doing the new thing, the new hotness, except for one of us. I won't say who.
Hold on.
You already said this.
Before we get here, can we do some other minor news I have?
If you got some, let's go. I don't want to talk about Dr. Disrespect. Like he got accused of some shit. I'm not going to go into it. Yeah, somebody said some on
You
Twitter.
brought it up.
Yeah, because it's news, but I don't really care about this kind of news because it's unsubstantiated. Somebody said that the reason he got banned was for texting a minor or something, but there's no.
Oh no!
There's no validity to that. That's concrete. So. And I'm not a supporter one way or the other. I don't care about Dr. Disrespect. I just don't like news that's got no sources. So that's all that is.
Are you guys familiar with what's been happening to the Embracer Group?
What is that?
A video
What
game.
is that?
A Swedish video game and media holding company.
Okay, continue.
Nope.
In June of last year, well, actually, let's go back a little bit further. So I think it was 2022, they were in debt and they were trying to have a investor. They were in the talks for it, but they ended up the investor that they were talking to was pulled out. I don't think it's ever been confirmed who they were talking to for investment, but because of that, they were left with a massive debt, and they ended up having to do some restructuring, is what they decided. So since the I believe it's June of last year to May of this year, they have fired 4,500 employees,
Oh my
closed
God.
44 studios, and canceled 80 in development games and other projects
What is happening?
That is insane.
in the course of a little over 9 months, I believe. And it's some of the things they had, one of the recent ones is even 5 days ago, they announced that they closed the studio behind Alone in the Dark.
Well,
They're constantly closing things. Some of their franchises include stuff like Darksiders, Metro, Tomb Raider, Time Splitters, Saints Row, Red Faction.
Saints Row.
That's what I remember, because I remember being so sad that a potential Red Faction game got canceled because of this. And I love Red Faction.
Yeah, they've canceled a ton of stuff. They've closed some, they fired, I think, almost 21% of their workforce, I think was the final tally. And, they're just over 100 studios right now, I think, 107 or something like that. And they've closed 80 they closed 80, have 100 and something left.
oh, they got
They've just lost a
100.
ton.
Oh, that's part of the group. Yeah. Well, that's
Because they had they were doing a massive amount of acquisitions right before this, if I'm remembering correctly.
what a strange business plan.
I think now I think they own Gearbox now, for example. I think Gearbox is still one of their thing. I think they got it this month. The deal was finalized.
Huh.
Well, I know what was really worrying about that, because I think I remember the restructure they did. I didn't know they fired a bunch of people, but I know that they split into 3 different branches. One being their AAA games, and the other 2 I think are doing indie games or something. But one of the things that they were talking about a bunch was about how they're trying to incorporate AI into their workflow really heavily. So,
Oh,
and I guess they just fired a bunch of people, which I didn't know. That's
ooh, they're doing
Hmm.
Skynet.
it's interesting.
All right. You got anything else, or is that it for now?
There's that, and then there's also the fact that apparently the EA executives have earned $60 million so far this year, despite all the layoff and office closures.
Of course. I mean, that's
That's not even news. That's
CEOs.
Well, that's just how much they've been earning for half a year so far.
yeah. I remember one of my old jobs, we were hiring temps and firing all these permanent employees, and somebody slapped like a piece of paper on the wall in the break room that said, "Oh yeah, just so you guys know, our CEO made a $15 million bonus this year, so don't worry about it." Like, okay. That was ripped down at some point the next day. They did not like that up there. There's nothing you can do, man.
I was surprised it lasted a day.
Yeah. Actually, honestly, it was up there for like a week. Our managers didn't care about anything. They're like, yeah, whatever, do something about it.
Wiping their tears with the money.
Oh, it's so sad.
Oh, it's so gross.
Yeah. Yeah, you know, until the company completely fails, those top dogs are always going to be pulling in big fat paychecks, and even then they'll just parachute over to somewhere else, you know, like there's
Yeah.
It is what it is.
That's what happened with Kodak, right? I remember it cost Microsoft a bunch of money just to fire him.
Yeah.
Get rid of them.
Yeah, like the golden parachute.
Yep.
Yeah. I don't remember the exact number, but it was in the hundreds of millions.
It was astronomical.
Yeah, it was a crazy amount just to fire him, which is ridiculous. That's even a thing. Like I get it too, because like it's part of. I'm sure it was originally meant to protect CEOs from having their company just like absolutely swept out from under them. But
in what way? Like if somebody's making millions of dollars a year, like if you have spent a year making millions of dollars, like you can lose your job tomorrow and you'll be fine. You know,
just as an artifact from back before this industry used to be how it is, you know, just when this wasn't common practice. I'm sure that was the thing, just to keep that in place to make sure. Because you know, it's so hard to track like these kind of legal things. And like we were just watching a video before about that whole like Sonic legal fiasco yesterday.
Oh my god. Ken Penders.
Like the fact that can even happen.
Yeah.
Like some guy with $500 in his bank account can like take away hundreds of characters from Sega from comics he used to write just because they lost a contract.
Nice.
It's just one of those things. You know, legal shenanigans.
Yeah.
Otherwise, are we talking about Elden Ring?
Real quick, we played a bit of X Defiant, all of us. A little article telling us how X Defiant's doing. Not great.
Yeah, tell me about it. I haven't been playing with you. I played it like one time and I was like, this is just Call of Duty.
Still have fun, but like I still enjoy playing it. But
so the big pull to X Defiant. Oh, there's a lot of pulls actually. It's free. If you really like old Call of Duty, it's just that. And the lobbies are randomized, I guess. But they're not match based. They're not skill based matchmaking.
So the players are matchmade by skill, but the teams are balanced.
Yeah, which is
that in mind.
Which is like it brings you back to the days of old Call of Duty where you could just dump 60 in a round and like call it good, and you wouldn't even, you know, it was fun to shit on kids, right? The problem is that exactly that it's all outdated ideas, you know. So I mean, there is a ranked mode. I've never touched it.
Same.
And when you know, as soon as Black Ops 6 or whatever Call of Duty's comes out, you know, everybody who plays shooters is just going to that, or they're playing Valorant or Counter-Strike or Rainbow, or I guess Tarkov. They all got their things, but nobody's playing like a shittier version of one of those games competitively, you know.
Oh, look, it's just all the other shooters, but shittier.
Paladins, yay.
I mean, the number one thing that I have a problem with it and why I stopped playing is the netcode is garbage.
Yeah, it's not great.
It's atrocious.
It's
it's not great.
Gunfights are way too volatile just on whether or not you're going to hit them or not.
Yeah, but the game is made for people like me. Like, I'll die a million times. I don't care. I'm just going to run in and hope I get that quad kill, even though there's no kill streaks, which is a big negative for me.
Get your abilities.
I mean, I would be fine with dying over and over. It's just when it doesn't feel like my fault. Because the guy I dumped half a mag into turned around and killed me instantly. Because the server actually said I didn't hit him at all.
Did that ever happen when you played on your own? Like if you played on, we should have you try it.
We've also played on my servers because you can just tell by the ping.
Yeah,
like the game feels way better. On locally servers.
I have not played a game that felt like you could feel the difference as bad as this is. Like usually I'm fine wherever we're playing. I always play with you guys, so we're always on East Coast servers, but it's fine for me. Like it's not terrible. It's not very noticeable. In this game, I notice it every time. I'll go like 60 kills on my servers, join you guys, and I can't break even. You know, like the netcode is not my favorite either.
No, there is a new shooter game that's coming out that I saw. I can't remember the name of it for the life of me.
Or whatever. Storia?
Storia? What?
There's a new free-to-play shooter that should have just came out on Steam.
I don't think it's out yet.
Overwatch 2.
It seems like it seems pretty cool. So the idea is it's a team-based shooter, right? And you get a deck of cards that you can select.
Oh, I think I saw this. I don't know what it is though.
And it's like quote is that you break the rules of the game, and like the cards you pick as your abilities actually like change how the game looks and plays.
Okay.
Where like you can have one card that makes everyone's heads in the game like 4 times bigger.
What's it called?
Make it. I don't remember. That's the thing. It's just I'm drawing a blank on the name right now. You can do more that like change the graphics of the game and stuff, and like all this other stuff. I wish I remembered the name of the game, but it looks pretty cool. To be honest, it looks very interesting. I'll have to try and get the name of the game.
I wanna. That sounds like actual fun.
It seems actually like fun and new. I've never seen a game do kind of do that before, where it's just that mentality of, well, if everything's broken, if nothing works correctly, it's fine.
The only one I know that had like deck building in it was Friends versus Friends, but that's not the same as what you're talking about.
Yeah. God, I wish I knew what it was called. I'll have to look and I'll mention it next time. We can talk about it, but it seems interesting.
When you said it wasn't out yet?
No, I don't think it's out yet.
Okay.
The art style is pretty good. Oh, here it is. It's Fragpunk. I think it's on Steam right now. I can take a look.
All right.
Yeah, it's not out yet, but okay. Fragpunk. It comes out. I think pretty. No, there's no release date for it yet. Is it a playtest that comes out soon? Maybe that I'm thinking of. I don't know, but check it out. It looks honestly really interesting.
Stylistically, this looks really cool.
Yeah, it's got a really nice art style. It looks fantastic. The mechanics look good. The weapon skins look amazing too. So there's probably things for people to do to get those. So, and I think there's even like kill effects you can do too. When you kill someone, you get custom kill effects that look neat.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm gonna have to try that. All right, we're done. We're moving on. We're transitioning very poorly.
Are we Elden Ringing?
To Elden Ring. So I guess we're gonna stay away from spoilers. Sadly, fucking guy. I guess that's for the audience's benefit as well. Fine.
True. I mean, I don't know what you can really spoil.
I don't really either. What am I going to tell you about the story? I don't know what the fuck is going on. I never have.
So there's this tree, and you got these rings.
You're a shadow. You're in the shadow of it.
And you're in the shadow of it, I think.
Yeah.
Shadow's spooky because it's darker.
No, but Shadow of Erdtree, I've been enjoying it. Not as much as the base game, to be honest, but I have been liking it. I think the level design has actually been an improvement. Like the dungeons in this one, they feel like way more complex and actually interesting to navigate.
Do they?
Yeah. The side dungeons are a significant step up in the base game.
Yeah, like I can tell.
They're much bigger too.
Yeah, they're
Like some of them
larger.
take
There's
20, 30 minutes to get through.
Yep. It was like the first, like every single one, I've had to almost rely on those messages on the ground people leave, just because like there's so many different like pathways that I would have missed otherwise.
That was something that I wanted to mention is I have never been helped out by player messages more than I have in this last couple days of playing the DLC. Like I read them all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At this point.
My favorite message though so far was one that was on the bottom of a staircase and it just said message and therefore time for explosion, and then you exploded by the time you finished reading that message because some enemy shot you from across the stage.
I know what dungeon you're talking about.
You know, the one with the fucking cannon out of it. Yep.
Yeah.
That message fucking killed me. Like literally, I died from that.
I was gonna say, man, I'm more used to like troll messages in Souls games than helpful ones.
Yeah, the level design is a huge improvement. The game looks really good. The scope of it's huge too. I remember coming into the game and opening the map. I was like, oh yeah, this is pretty decent. And then I kept unlocking more maps, and I was like, oh, okay, there's more. Yeah, and it's just a massive game. Like there's so much to do, and I've been playing it for like maybe like 15 hours so far, and there's still the entire section of it I haven't even gotten to yet.
Well, one of us just beat it the first day. Well, did you stay up like 24 hours and just mash the whole thing out?
I beat it about 14 hours after it came out, I think.
God. Meanwhile,
yes,
I was fighting a boss for 4 fucking hours last night.
The bosses, I have mixed feelings about the bosses, to be honest.
I know there's one in particular you're not too impressed with.
Yeah. Well, so all the designs for the bosses I've enjoyed, like aesthetically and like what they look like and can do.
I don't know if it's a spoiler, but I agree. I really love the design of the one. There's a boss who looks like a Chinese dragon from like like a parade or something. That
was
guy
the first
sick.
one I fought. I was like, dude, this
he's
thing
like
looks amazing.
It does. I'm not saying the fight is fun, but the actual look of it is super cool.
Yeah, I have had an issue with a lot of camera problems with a lot of these bosses, because the bosses themselves are either like very large or they move in very either fast or like strange ways. Like they'll hover above you and are going to be doing like crazy shit, or they're just like so enormous that your camera freaks out and you just can't see like what they're doing.
Yeah.
Which is kind of a problem.
The boss you fought probably right before we recorded this, if it's the one I'm thinking of, that boss had the worst camera for me.
Yeah.
Is right when it gets on top of you. Is the camera will actually, if it does a specific attack or two, the camera will actually just spin repeatedly, trying to keep it on screen.
Yeah.
It's so bad.
Oh my
And
God.
that's like one issue, but like even just like some of the dragons that you fight in the game, because it's Elden Ring, Dark Souls, they're gonna have dragons. Even some of the simple stuff, like there are no lock-on points to some of them on some of their limbs, which
I'd learned to fight dragon enemies unlocked.
Which I don't understand, like why, because like that feels like such a easy fix to just do that.
I didn't have that problem. I was able to lock onto the feet of all the dragons.
It's only a couple of them, because some of them are fine, but there's one particular that I'm thinking of. You can lock onto its like front legs, but not its back legs, which are the ones that are on the ground and are stationary.
Gotcha.
They're also weaker too, so they're like what you're incentivized to hate.
Yeah, but it's like frustrating because I feel like that should not be too much of an issue to add, and it just makes the game kind of just a little bit more annoying in a game that's designed to just try not to die. It doesn't help. But
I will say I've had like minor issues as well with performance. I'm not like, I usually don't complain too much about performance. I don't mind like if something looks bad or chugs every once in a while, but I'm kind of, it's doing it to me a lot. And I'm like, I'll just be going, like I'll be in a boss fight and the game will just stall entirely for like a full second. And that's not my favorite.
That's a
I found there were times in the base game it would do that where like, not like, it wouldn't be all the time, just every so often be like, oh, here's a chug.
Yeah,
like, it's like, oh great, like I'm fighting a boss right now. I do not need this,
in a game
man.
where every second matters. It's like that can't be a thing.
It happens to me too.
I don't remember if it happened that much in the base game, but I'm noticing it now.
Yeah, it was only so it wasn't like all the time. It's just every so often, and it's only like exacerbated by the fact that you would strength boss fights, so I remember them more.
Yeah,
because that can mess up your run easily.
Yeah, for me, it's like during certain attacks that are like FX heavy, or even just looking at certain areas, like just exploring the overworld.
Yeah,
my FPS literally cuts in half.
Yep,
like from 60 to 30. And I remember I was with Jacob, we were trying to figure out why. Like I even turned the game down to the minimum settings, and it would still do it.
Yeah, because you have a stronger computer than me, but my performance was way better in that area with like higher settings. Because I have a mix of high, medium, and high, is what my graphics settings were, and like I was having like almost a solid 60 in the area. You were dropping to like 30.
Yeah, it's really strange. Luckily, like it's almost like the game is so good, I don't even really care. It just kind of sucks.
No, and on top of that, it's like if you die to lag, that's one of your million deaths. Like, who cares?
Yeah.
It's the only real problem I had was during one specific boss fight. There's an attack that literally would drop my frame rate to about 15 every time. Every time it happened.
It's the frame rate attack, man.
It's part of the game. I've also seen that.
You parry this, you casual.
It's probably the same attack I'm thinking of. That attack, it just because I was also watching people do the fight. Everyone's frame rate just looks like it explodes during that attack.
Yeah,
the frame rate attack, man.
It's unfortunate. Like, it's something that I wish was not a thing in the game that totally is. But other than that, like with so many other things that are so good, like the environments look fantastic. What's really cool that I found with the DLC is because the area is technically like just Limgrave, right? It's about the same size, but the variety of areas. Oh yeah, well it's bigger, but you know what I mean. It's the variety of areas is way more, so you'll just be exploring around. You're like in a totally different place, it feels like, very, very shortly. And there's they all look like amazing too, which I love. The level design and all the other stuff for it look great. And go ahead.
Like the environmental like storytelling that was happening and like build up on the bottom right area.
Yep.
That build up to that boss was insane. Just as you were going, like for like the 30 or 40 minutes it takes you to go there, from all the things that you see and hear along the way. It's definitely one of my favorite moments of the DLC.
It's pretty good. The only thing I wish there was more enemy variety though. Just because, like, even with the bosses, some of the bosses are very similar to ones we've already fought, and some of the enemies are also the same. And I don't know about you guys. I found myself just running through areas way more.
I recently started that. Well, I think that's just because of the way the leveling works. Like, I don't need to save souls. I'm just going to lose them or not have enough anyway. I'm not trying to farm or do anything like that.
My general rule of thumb was just kill everything once. Once I've killed it once, I can run past it the next time.
I'm not even doing that at this point. I'm just kind of going.
Because I mean, I got an extra 50 levels running through the DLC just from killing enemies.
Well, I mostly do that, but yeah, sometimes in the overworld, I'm like, nah.
Because there's also the thing of like of Souls where it's just like one random enemy might drop its unique thing, and there is enemies like that. There's like one enemy will, like, you can't get the like Horn Warrior swords, for example, except from one specific dude standing somewhere. Like his paired swords don't drop except from one spot, so I've been killing everything.
That's
And
true, but I haven't actually found better weapons
Me either.
than
Yeah.
what I have, to be honest. And it's more just I'm not interested in trying any different weapons, so that's just
I mean,
whatever.
I kind of am, but
all-
you have to like
all these
level it up
weapons are
again.
dope. Yeah, and it's not too much of an issue as long as you had all the smithing stone bell bearings.
Well, I
beforehand.
thought I did. I guess I didn't.
Because I made sure. And they also, the DLC drops all of the stone types all over the
Yeah.
place.
They're
So it helps you.
everywhere.
Because I've gotten like 3 or 4 weapons just from the stones I found exploring the DLC.
Yeah, but then I look at the weapons and they just turn out to be worse than what I have already, which has been kind of unfortunate. I think it's just because that's the weapons that I've been using, and most of the weapons I've been dropping are also like either the new ones or like mostly just the new ones, pretty much, and then just worse versions of what I already have.
I feel like it wouldn't have hurt the game to be like, your whatever weapons you had before are trash. You're gonna be using some new stuff we give you.
I mean, you can. It's just, but you also don't want to invalidate people who wanted to just use whatever they had before.
Sure you can. I mean, you got a whole separate leveling system. Why not have a
Exactly.
separate weapon system? Sure, you could have like great swords. You just still have the same weapons.
But what's
And maybe those
No,
weapons couldn't
no.
be used in the
I
base game.
disagree because, like, it's the fact that, like, if I wanted to run through with the Claymore, which is what I did, because it's what I did with my base game, Elden Ring, was play through with the Claymore. So I wanted to do the DLC with it
You get the Claymore
like-
too.
to get an idea for like how this DLC plays. Is like a measuring stick type thing, and it's something I'm very familiar with. And so I used that for a good chunk of it, while trying out new weapons here and there. But I would have been very mad if I couldn't use the weapon, my favorite weapon, for the base game.
Well, I guess that's just an opinion for both of us, because I wouldn't have been mad
Because
if it made me say, hey, you know what? You already played through a game using these weapons.
There's
Try
nothing
some
stopping
new
you
shit.
from using new weapons. Just use them. They're
But
not
I feel
bad.
like I should be forced to, you know, like if there's nothing stopping me, but there's nothing really to be gained either if I swap.
I mean,
It's
it's
just
just
a
new
different play style more
experience.
than
Yeah.
an upgrade.
Yeah,
Yeah,
there's
and that's
no
fine.
reason to swap. There just isn't.
Diversify.
No.
Become powerful.
What are you gonna be when you play the
I mean-
DLC soon?
because
I-
I don't think any Souls
I have a
game should
Claymore.
ever force you to change a weapon from what you want to use. You shouldn't ever be
Although-
forced to change your build.
Yeah,
you have to
I'm not,
look at the
okay, well,
hammer.
maybe not forced, but you know, it doesn't. I'm not really, like I said, I'm not given any real incentive to like my shit works just fine, and even though I kind of want to use other stuff, it's kind of just a hassle. Like I might as well just use what I have. But like I
mean,
said, it's just a difference of
Use new
opinion.
things. Just use the new things. That's what
I
I,
know,
did.
because then I have to go level them up, and I have to, you know, I'm not doing all that shit.
Possibly respec and
Yeah. That's really the main thing. There's a couple things where I'm like, ooh, that looks interesting, but then I realize I have to respec, and I'm not going to go do that like every time
Well, you need
and
a
waste an
little bit
item.
of faith.
Yeah, well, I don't want to go do that. If I have to change my whole character, and then if I don't like it, I have to change it all back, which also costs a limited item, or maybe it's unlimited. I don't know, but I don't know where. And then I have to figure out where to go find that item again. I'm not doing all that. Like, it's
I mean,
just
It's a lot of
difficult to
work.
do.
it's a lot of work to get my ass beaten a different way.
Yeah, right.
Oh, what if you become even more powerful and beat their ass in a different way?
No, then maybe it's worth it, but I could always just do what I'm doing and that'll work.
I don't know. I think it's fine. I've just been I've enjoyed the DLC so far. I haven't beat it yet, but I definitely feel like I enjoyed the base game a lot better. It could just be a progression thing too, because I don't really feel myself getting stronger. I know mathematically I am, just with the whole level up system that's in like the DLC and how it works, but I don't actually feel like I am, if that makes sense.
that's fair, but I've noticed it become very, very apparent with co-op due to the fact that you share your blessing level with whatever the host has. There's such a massive difference.
Yeah,
the spread.
but it's one of those things where like I know I have to be getting stronger because I'm getting further into the DLC. So these enemies should be stronger, but they feel exactly the same as when I started. And there's not really like a major upgrade I can do, like a new weapon or anything like that I've found so far. And I've done most of the DLC so far. It's just that top left area that I haven't done. That's it. And that's been kind of It's a little disappointing, but it's whatever. How have you felt about it, Fliz?
I like fighting sword guys, so this has been pretty fun. There's a lot of sword guys you fight. I like fighting enemies that are like, I want to parry, even though I'm never good enough at it. Like I always want to try it, you know. And it's good. It feels good. And there's a lot of enemies that like there was one guy in a cave, and I parried the shit out of that boy, and that boss was just done. Like it was not a problem at first try. And I was like, all right, cool. And then there's some that have been a little harder for me for no real reason. No, there's one that was giving me some problems last night, but that's because I made it harder on myself. So I could have done things to make it easier. I chose not to, and I chose to hurt myself spiritually instead. But
what, like 1/4 of your runs just turned into you as soon as you got hit? I'm just gonna stand here and trade hits with the boss. Why isn't this working?
Because sometimes it did work. If I traded enough hits fast enough, he would get staggered, and I would be able to do stuff. And then he'd go into his second form and one-shot me. It didn't matter. I just wanted to press revive. That's my game. How many times can I press revive? I like it. My mind's not blown by it in any way.
The official, or not the official, some of the reviews on Steam have kind of been reflecting the same stuff, and one other thing too, where like performance is pretty poor, the camera is pretty poor. But one of the things too is not a lot of people, but there seems to be a common theme of the bosses being too difficult. And specifically, they're difficult because they not only do they one or two shot most people, but their attacks are just a stream of just constant combos.
Yeah.
Like you get almost no time to actually do anything yourself.
I'm not saying that. Yeah, I'm not saying that those reviews and complaints aren't valid. What I will say is that when the game first released, it had the same exact shit going on. People were complaining that it was too hard, and I didn't think Elden Ring was one of the harder ones.
I hadn't either. I haven't thought most of the bosses are particularly difficult, except for the final boss, which I just do not like them. I find that they're not enjoyable at all.
That's the tough part, though, because like it's got to be so hard to make difficult. It sounds like, from what it sounds like, I haven't beaten this yet, but it sounds like people want to play these games because they're difficult, and difficult is fun. The problem is they've made the bosses difficult, but not in a fun way. Like, it doesn't feel like a legit death when you die. You just feel like, well, what was I supposed to do?
There's two major issues with how these bosses, specifically in Shadow of the Erdtree, work. And first is that a lot of people complaining is like is the damage that you're taking and the damage you're dealing is super dependent on your blessing level, which just means instead of a lot of it boils down to basically just like it's raw stats. Because like when I was fighting the final boss, there was times where I'm like, I would have won that run if I just had a higher blessing level. I played well enough that if I had gone out of my way to collect more MacGuffins, I would have won. Which is very strange for a Souls game.
Yeah.
It's a very weird feeling.
Yeah, right.
The second problem is that because of the way the DLC's blessings work, is all these bosses are designed with a buffed summon in mind.
Yeah.
Whether that's your Mimic to your Black Knight to Black Knife to like some random dudes with a shield. is they're so dependent on you having a summon because their attack rating is designed with both you and the summon in mind.
Maybe that's
Which
why I'm
makes-
having
which
such a
makes-
hard time.
because these boss fights are not designed to be 1v1. That's why one half of the major scaling mechanic buffs just Ashes and just Torrent. And it leads to a fundamental issue where the people who have gotten used to these games over time of fighting bosses one-on-one, because it's how you used to always have to do this
Mhm.
and how they were designed, is changed with Elden Ring and the summons. And they have become like a key design philosophy in how these bosses are designed, with their attack rating, delays, wide sweeping arcs, so that they could hit both you and the summons in mind. And it fundamentally makes them kind of like they feel really badly designed when you try to 1v1 them, and without that summon in mind.
Yeah.
I'm using the summon though.
Why
It's
does
really
your
only so
lies?
far. It's only been the final boss where I'm like,
Yep.
this is some bullshit. This
Yeah,
is
no, the
crazy.
final boss is so mandatory to have a summon in mind. Because I
You know,
was watching someone doing the final boss solo with no summon. It took him like 7 hours of solid attempts plus completely respecking for a cheese build, basically, to deal with him.
Gosh.
Because it was dodge all of his attacks and on one specific attack or two, use a weapon art to inflict as much bleed buildup as possible until you bleed the boss to death. Was how he ended up doing it.
That doesn't
It's-
even sound fun.
No, like
Sounds
the
like a chore.
the fight is not designed.
It's not designed for. This game is not supposed to be fun.
It's not designed for a 1v1. Like, the fight actually is fucking crazy in co-op. Like, and it's definitely designed with that in mind, like a co-op / summon to deal with it. And even then, it's still rough with a summon. Like, it's absurdly difficult. Like, it took me 2 hours with the fucking, like, here is my frostbite to reduce their damage negation so I can put out as much damage with my mimic tier as possible. And it still beat my ass for 2 hours. And I barely won. I had to use the fucking full heal rare item that you get in the DLC. That was my last one. I won with like 60 health.
Yeah, I don't think.
But
I'm gonna
also,
get
there was multiple times where I'm like, I could have won that if I had a higher blessing level, because I did it with I still had quite a few levels on the blessing to go.
Mhm.
Damn.
When's Dark Souls 4 coming out?
They just came out as Shadow of the Earth Tree.
I did hear. They're saying that they're probably this is it. They're not gonna do any more DLC or like a second Elden Ring 2 or anything.
Yeah.
Sounds like they're pretty done with it.
Miyazaki has said that he wanted to refine Bloodborne and Sekiro for his next
That is what I want. Those are the two that I fucking
want
care
Bloodborne.
about.
His next game is
Motherfucker.
going to be more abstract.
Good.
More?
Geology souls.
It can get more?
He's also said that he needs to find new and interesting ways of killing players other than poison swaps, in his own words.
Geometry.
Oh, like what do you by poison swaps? You mean like here's blood damage, here's rot, here's paralyze, here's poison.
No, he's going to find new ways
No,
to kill us.
Blighttown.
Here's death. This one just kills you.
It's a recurring joke in the community because there's always a poison swamp in every Souls game, and it's always hell to go through.
Demon Souls has one, Dark Souls 1 has one, Dark Souls 2 has one, Dark Souls 3 has one.
I think Bloodborne has
Sekiro
one,
has
but it's
one, right?
blood. It's like blood rot or something.
Bloodborne, yep, Bloodborne has one. Elden Ring has so many now.
Did Sekiro have one, right?
Yeah, Sekiro has. I think Sekiro has one. I'm actually trying to remember if that poisons you or not.
Poison swamp.
It definitely has a swampy area. I just don't remember if it actually poisons
I
you.
don't think it does, but you know,
He
it's
hasn't
been a while
completed
since I
his
played
magnum
that.
opus, his prime vision of a world of poison in swamp form.
Um,
I'm excited
Also-
for Dawn Trail to come out to be Elden Ring 2.
I want to point someone
Dude.
point this out is so Elden Ring has mixed reviews on Steam. Shadow of the Earth Tree has mixed reviews on Steam right now, right?
yeah,
Sure.
If you sort it by languages, the English community was about 80% last I checked, but the Chinese community is at 30% positive.
What happened?
Oh,
Like there is a massive difference in how these two communities are reacting. Like that's part of why the mixed review is so low, or like why it's so low is because there's like 30% positive reviews from the Chinese community, and they have like 10K reviews on it.
wonder
why
why-
does China
why,
hate Elden Ring?
Why are they mad at Elden Ring?
Because supposedly, I don't know how valid this is. It's like the way that reviews are treated in China is because I think the Steam discussions doesn't exist. Someone was saying, and that so they treat the review section as like a comment board.
Oh,
So like a lot of the Chinese reviews that people complaining about like issues they find with the DLC, like if you check the Steam discussions, the English community is doing.
Just start Google translating a bunch of the Chinese reviews and see what they say.
I am right now.
oh no.
It says, "Yep, I agree with that guy. Thumbs down."
Oh, this guy
that's what-
wrote a whole article. He's got numbered like paragraphs. The numerical values of all monsters in the DLC are problematic. It's hard to imagine how it feels when I'm level 230 and killed by an axe soldier.
Okay, because here's the other thing. The two things I need people to do when they're talking about like getting two-shot is what blessing level they are and what new game they're on. Because new game +1 will just blow you up. Because I got summoned to help someone in a new game plus fight, and I died in one hit because of the blessing level.
Damn, dude.
Like, it's insane. You absolutely need to be doing this DLC for a proper experience on new game for your first time. Unless you were like a god tier gamer.
Well, I'm not him. So yeah, I mean, I look honestly, if you like Souls, you're gonna already have this, and you're not gonna hate it. Nobody's gonna walk away going, "I fucking hated that." Like, if it's just more Dark Souls, you know.
The only thing is maybe just performance-wise, because apparently even like the 40 series of graphics cards, the RTX 40s, are also kind of struggling with the game sometimes.
Yeah.
So if you have like a weaker computer, maybe be a little, kind of see how it goes.
That's crazy because you'd think like, hey, if Elden Ring worked, the DLC should work just fine, right? Like, that doesn't
Yeah,
make
You
sense.
can kind of assume, yeah.
Yeah,
There's-
something about it.
From what I understand, there's some issues with like certain Windows programs are causing issues that I've seen people reporting with. It wasn't the DLC; it was the patch. They started it with the patch. That were released like the day before or the day of
Okay.
before the DLC dropped 1.12. Because that seems to be like where all these issues started showing up. Like, it was before they did. Did anyone else's game chug when they opened it up for the first time?
Oh yeah,
Yep.
Like where the game just stopped
yeah.
and then sped up to catch up?
No.
Because that happened to me the first time. Like the very
Maybe chug,
first
but then
second.
like jumped ahead. But no, I don't think like fast forward catch up now.
Mine paused like I thought it was gonna crash, and then it didn't crash.
But then, like when you first got into the game for the first time after the patch, there was a massive hitch. Because I noticed that was like the biggest performance issue I had with the DLC besides one boss's attack.
I've noticed
Like
when
I had certain areas frame dropped a little bit, but like it was never as bad as I've seen you guys have. I never had a
like
hitch. I never had stuttering.
my rocks and flowers don't show up for a full second when I like come to when I teleport
Yeah.
somewhere. Yeah,
The pop in.
yeah, everything just pops in, and I'm like, all right, that's just what it's like down here in the world of
Shadowland.
Shadowland, Shadow Tree. I do like it. It's
Shadow.
gorgeous. Parts of it are gorgeous. I really like the there's a lot of stuff I look at, and I like there's not too many games I ever care too much to just wander around and look at stuff. I definitely have done that here, where I'm like, ooh, what's that over there? Ooh, that looks pretty
There's
cool.
usually just a message on the floor saying, "Wow, beautiful."
600 upvotes. I'm
Updates.
posting it to Reddit now.
I want to go home and then Edge.
Yeah, that one pops up.
That I've seen that in quite a few places.
I want to know these people who see a message like that and then are like, I know what I'll do. I'll copy that exact message and put it somewhere nearby, and then I'll get 100 useless upvotes. Like, what's the?
They're not useless.
They give you something, yeah.
They
do
full
they?
heal you.
Oh.
They full heal you when your message gets appraised.
Oh, that's neat. I didn't know that. Okay, well,
Okay,
never mind then.
Start farming likes, Fliz.
The people who say like who've had like the 9999 upvote comments have said that like it happens like every 15 to 30 seconds. Like they just constantly get full healed of it, and it's like it's kind of annoying because it's like your message was appraised. Your message was appraised. Your message was appraised.
I can't die.
You've been fucking invincible. I didn't know that. Well, I guess you learned some. Man, this is every time I turn the game on, I learn something I didn't know before. That's kind of a neat thing. How do you feel about it, Tsun? How do you like the DLC?
Yeah, how you feeling about the DLC?
It's pretty cool.
Yeah?
What was your
Yeah.
favorite boss fight?
The one with the man and the sword.
Oh shit, that's my favorite too.
I hate that one.
Yeah, it's because you hate good shit.
No, that fight is bad. I think they've gone too far. They have gone too far.
Man with sword is too much.
Man with sword and big sandals.
Oh,
No,
fuck.
once we're all finally done with the DLC, I think we should have a more in-depth talk about Dark Souls and Elden Ring games.
I'm okay to do that.
Yep.
One thing I did want to talk about is kind of, and I've talked about this before, like a long time ago, was the idea of how the bosses and mechanics in these games are like difficult to criticize, because if you try to criticize them, you just get told that you're trash and that you're not good
Yeah,
at
get
the
good,
game.
motherfucker. You're good.
You know what? That's never happened for me. Like the community behind these games, every time I've streamed them, every time I've played them, everybody that's come in has always wanted to be helpful. Nobody's ever said you fucking suck. Like, and I know I suck. They've all been nice that you can do it. Yeah, just try again. Just try again.
The good thing is for people who like are ignoring like what the game is actually telling you, flat out like ignoring things, being dicks, is if you're like just like refusing to actually attempt to engage with the game and are just bitching and complaining, people will just tell you get good.
Yeah, like they die at that
That's where
first
a lot of-
spider boss in Elden Ring, and they're like, "This game's trash. I'm done with it. I died in the very beginning." Like, well, you didn't. You're supposed to. like
a lot of it was like Margit when the game first came out, like people walking there and fighting him and dying for 2 hours because you're not supposed to fight him right away, and that's what he's supposed to teach you, so you can always come back stronger.
It's crazy that people would, because almost every time I play one of these games, and since the first, because I started with Bloodborne, like you can beat those bosses though, you know, like there's something about the games where you know from hitting a boss a few times, hey, this can be done, you know, and that's what I love about them. And some people just don't even get that feeling, I guess, where they're like, this is some bullshit and I don't understand that I'm like supposed to try different strategies or you know, I feel like I don't know what game they're expecting. I don't know what they're trying to do that gives them such a terrible thing. Anyway, that's a conversation for maybe next time. We'll talk about it. Just Elden Ring and all the Bloodborns and
Our
The
front
Sekiro,
players.
just that niche of Souls-like games.
Souls, the
that's been
good
called.
Souls likes,
Yeah,
the
I think
real
that'd be fun.
ones.
The souls,
The
not
actual
the
soul.
Souls-like.
Yeah, the souls. You're right. We tired.
The souls,
The souls board.
bro.
Well, I think that's pretty much it for today. Y'all got any little last bits you got to get off your chest, or you'll just explode?
The only thing is that Shadow of the Erdtree has now become the highest rated DLC on Metacritic and OpenCritic.
What was beating it before?
Blood and Wine from The Witcher 3.
Oh,
Yeah,
I've
that
still
was
never
actually
played
cool
that
because
game.
I think CD Projekt Red, they made a little art.
Yeah, they made a little art of Girl, at the Mogwin Palace over a dead Mog, I think was the art they did to celebrate it.
Yeah, it's pretty cool of them.
I don't know what that is.
Geralt is the main character from The Witcher.
Gerald.
Geralt.
Okay.
Yeah, it was him standing over Mog, who's the character or the boss you have to beat in order to get to the DLC for Elden Ring.
Oh, that's kind of neat. They're having fun. They're being
cool
good people to each other. I like that.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Well, thank you all for listening, and next time we'll be back with more real Elden Ring. God, we talked about it for like almost an hour too.
We're gonna have a long
big
episode
game,
next
man.
week.
Big game.
They're all long episodes. Who cares? It doesn't cost me anything to upload a longer episode. And I know that when I listen to podcasts, I will 100% click on one that's like 3 hours long over one that's
God, don't
30
do that, I do it
minutes.
all the time.
Yeah, I don't want to keep changing podcasts, and so I want whatever I want to just go on all day long. If there was a 12-hour podcast, I would listen to it every day.
I
You're
think
right.
that's
We
a
should keep
radio
this going.
station.
Next week, 24-hour podcast.
Oh my god.
It's just us for 24 hours.
There's one
Okay,
podcast.
no, I'll try to explain the story behind each Souls game.
There's
We'll
one,
be here forever.
There's one, I've never listened to it, but I kept hearing about it, where they basically come up with sketches, and like for their 50th episode, they came up with 50 sketches, and so at this point they're on like their 300th episode or something, and they're like, we have to, and they just do like a full like 18-hour podcast coming up with 300 different sketch comedy little things. Just
Oh my God.
yeah, no thank you, I'm good.
That's a lot.
That is a lot. Well, anyway, this has been a lot, and I thank y'all for listening, and I thank you gentlemen very much for joining me, and we'll be back next week. Goodbye.
Goodbye.